What is going on? It is Town Hall number 24 on March 20th, 2022. We've got an awesome show tonight. I'm going to bring Teresa up here real quick if I can. Let me dump that and pull this up. Teresa, you excited about today? Oh, wait, let me unmute you. You're excited. I know you are.
I'm
What?
surprised I'm not. Oh,
Yeah,
oh, I'm surprised I'm not floating out of this chair.
this is
I
this is going
almost
to be
need to be chained down because I'm so excited.
this is going to be a big one, everyone.
Oh
We
yeah.
are going to be telling you what we got in from all of these petitions that we've been endeavoring to tell everyone to start filling out or running for position. All that coming up soon. Teresa's
It
got
was
a.
it
Go
was
ahead.
enough to make me cry tears of joy. That I'll just tease you. If you want to know what made me cry tears of joy, you have to stay tuned. You have
Yeah,
to.
so she was going through the numbers. She couldn't wait to tell me. Can't wait to show you myself. But that is coming up right after a little bit of news. We're going to spend some time. Ben's going to tell us what's going on with Lori Lightfoot. She's doing some craziness right now, I believe. Is that accurate? Would that be an accurate statement?
She's always doing crazy stuff. But, yeah,
Yeah, especially after St. Patrick's Day in that outfit. It was nuts.
yeah, yeah. So this week is unfortunately no exception, and she is actually um, doing some of her usual. I would say
Shenanigans. If you're going to use that outfit, you should say shenanigans. So that's coming. Ben has all of that. He's gonna come up right after this little break. We got a 1 minute spot, and then we got all kinds of stuff to tell you about this upcoming election. So buckle up. This is going to be fun.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rebuild Illinois, where we get to talk about how we, the people, take charge and make Illinois a great place to live again.
Hey everyone, you excited?
Oh, actually, I'm hoping that you
I
have a
hope you
graphic
are.
of Lori Lightfoot.
What's
Because
that?
I've been so busy this week, I didn't get a chance to see what outfit she was wearing. So please tell me you have a graphic for that.
Oh, you didn't see the leprechaun stuff? I'll have to pull it up at the end. Stick to the end. I'll be downloading that while we're going through the presentation. But yeah, that's precious. Is all I got to say. I think it
Bless her
looks like
heart.
that horror film Leprechaun. I think is that a proper description?
Oh my
Ben?
goodness. Are we talking like 30, 35, 40 years ago?
No, like
No,
This-
I mean the movie.
yes. She's wearing a coat. No,
She
this
could
is
get
recent
me back
news.
for
Yeah.
Leprechaun.
It's been a long time since I've seen that show,
Yeah,
that movie.
yeah. But Ben is gonna tell us a little bit about what she's up to outside of her wardrobe. So I'm gonna basically let him take over for a little bit. Welcome to Rebuild Illinois. This one's definitely loaded up. So Ben, it's all you for a minute.
Well, in a year where the Democrats have come to terms with the fact that they're facing another election, and as a result, they are giving up on the COVID mandates. Not Lori Lightfoot; she's doubling down. In fact, here's where we stand with that. Last Sunday, over 2,300 police were facing a no-pay status for not complying with the city's COVID shot mandate. That means no pay means they wouldn't be working. Wouldn't be disciplined, but they wouldn't be allowed to work. The Chicago Police Department is the second largest in the nation with approximately 12,000 officers, second only to New York City. 400 of those have since been vaccinated, leaving 1,900 police officers that can be removed from the streets in the coming days. You heard that right. They're going to be removed from the streets. In one of the most violent years possible, we're talking about removing police officers. A total of 3,154 city employees had not complied as of last Sunday. But
Wow.
this still means 15.8% of all police officers were not compliant as of Friday. So, 2 days ago? The Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 7 and other police unions filed a lawsuit against the mandate last year, but their efforts have twice failed to produce a temporary restraining order against the mandate. Some are choosing to retire or move rather than accept the mandate. For example, Indiana, just to our east, has made an open invitation to any Chicago police officers that want to go there and not face a mandate. 98% of all city employees have gotten their shots. So at this point, they say you have herd immunity at what?
Yeah.
70%. We're well past that.
I did pull that video down for you if you want it to. I'm good. Just tell me if you want me to roll that. That's the one that we had earlier on the board. So
okay,
if you saw, yeah.
Just to continue with this. Now, 11 aldermen have actually tried to call a special meeting on Wednesday to add natural immunity to the possible solutions for the mandate. But their bid to force a debate was short-circuited on Wednesday when only 17 aldermen showed up for the special city council meeting that afternoon. They needed 25 aldermen to attend to have the necessary quorum, so the meeting lasted just long enough for a roll call before it was adjourned. The aldermen involved believe the vaccine mandate presents a clear and present danger to the safety, security, and services to the residents that they represent, those who signed the letter. 1,900 police officers being removed from.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's insane when you're already having difficulties out there. And remember, anytime you have domestic disturbances, who goes? It's the police. And why do they go? Because these are often violent interchanges.
And remember, our police officers are also considered. Our police officers are also considered peace officers. They go to tamp down, maintain the peace. So if you don't have them, then there's no one to come and calm everyone down.
Right.
So there is a large concern by multiple other politicians that are saying that this could portend some great problems coming in the next several months for Chicago.
Obviously, yeah.
Duh.
Stay tuned. We'll see what happens, but
stay tuned, but stay out of Chicago.
Yeah, I don't think Lori Lightfoot quite understands the ramifications of what she's trying to do with the COVID mandate here, because removing 1,900 police officers from the streets, you're talking about creating an environment that almost, I won't call it the Old West, but
it's
the reason
it's not going to bring those murder rates down.
No, it's not. In other violence, and understand.
I feel bad for the people of Chicago, honestly.
The murder rate is only a portion of the actual shooting that happens. Not everybody that's shot dies.
Right.
But the loads of other crimes that are committed, there's just not going to be enough police officers to try to run down those criminals. The offenders. So and they have to go toward higher priority cases like murders. So a lot of things are going to be overlooked if we have this shortfall on the streets.
And can I interject with the year to date so far from a website that's actually called it's called Hey Jackass. I'm sorry to use the term, but that's the name of the website.
I wish I had that domain.
The year to date shot and killed is 106.
Wow.
Shot and wounded 431. Total shot 537, and total homicides 115. And in comparison to a previous last year where there was almost 800 murders, we need to keep in context that even though that seems low this far into the year, it's also been cold.
Right.
The bulk of the murders occur in shooting and all that happens in the summertime. And where are we headed? We're headed straight into summer. And I hate to say this because I said it 2 years ago at a lot of rallies. When you're heading into summer and you've already got bad situations, you're just adding fuel to the fire because we know that it's going to inflame in the summer. It's a given. You talk to anyone in law enforcement, they'll tell you that all violence goes up in the summer, in the heat.
That's something I should have looked at. Last year was, I think we haven't seen those numbers since, I think 1980, as far as the number of, it's the highest in 25 years. So that would be 1986.
We're doing the math.
1986.
Right.
So the highest in 25 years, and there's nothing indicating that that's going to slow down. And we're going to take 1,900 police officers off the streets.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I want to see what this video. I hadn't watched this yet. I actually wanted to watch it with you tonight. So this is my first time watching. Your first time, I think, too.
And this is really sad for me because I don't live that far from Chicago, and there's a lot of wonderful museums and places in Chicago that offer free days, where you don't have to pay to get in.
Those are gone anyway because now you have to show a proof of vaccination to get in.
Actually, no, you don't.
Did they revoke that?
I don't know, but it hasn't been that long, and some friends invited us, paid for our tickets and everything, to go to Shed Aquarium. And no mask, no vaccine. They didn't ask about anything.
Museum of Science and Industry was a big. We just let's just say it was contentious with every employee there.
Well, this was only last weekend, about a week ago.
Okay, so
that I went.
Hope is alive in Illinois.
But the thing was, the big thing that they pushed is they said that it's not required.
Right.
But please be respectful of people who.
I don't think any of us have been
choices.
like. This has never been like an act of terrorism where I want to get up in everyone's face and say, "Look at what No, it's just leave me alone." Is all I'm ever asked.
Yeah.
So.
And no one said anything. No one said. The only one that said anything is one of my kids was still sick and coughing on the way to the car, and there were a couple of dirty looks like, "What are you doing
totally.
here?"
You can't.
It's
cough
allergies,
now.
people. Come on.
What's up, Ben? You're waiting.
Well, keep in mind, there are roughly 1,300 people who are not on the police force who are in other city jobs, and a large portion of those are going to be teachers, which means they can't go to their work to teach the kids. And we already have a teacher shortage and a police shortage, by the way.
Exactly.
So this is really a brilliant plan
in both of those areas, and these are the areas that are largely affected by this mandate. And so you remove the teacher population.
Right.
Chicago is already well behind in terms of reading and math.
Let's just say we're glad she's not governor.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. But
we were behind in education before COVID.
Behind in proficiency with reading, math, and science, and especially reading. And when we are removing teachers from the classroom,
right.
That's insane. It's completely backward from what we actually need. But hey.
And our Chicago schools.
The mayor's mandate is more important.
Our Chicago schools were abysmal to begin with before COVID. And then you add in all the shutdowns, all the lockdowns, all the mandates, and even a bigger shortage now ever since this. There's nothing there.
There's not much you can do to make it worse.
No, and the sad thing is, there's not much you can do to make
they're
it worse.
creative
And she
over
made
there.
It worse.
But she's trying.
She's trying real hard.
to make it
Fair.
work.
Hey, let's check this out for a second. If you think we need to pull the plug, you just tell me to pull the plug. I'm leaving your mic open, okay?
Lightfoot, during the out-of-control race riots in Chicago in 2020, you were seen marching around with a fist in the air. You were heard making anti-police comments. Now we have violent criminals who believe that they own the streets of Chicago. We have experienced police officers who have actual on-the-street experience arresting violent criminals, just throwing up their hands and retiring early.
Is there a question, sir?
Yeah. Do you feel that
What
you
is
are?
it? Let's get to it.
Do you feel that the citizens of Chicago who have lost faith in you are correct and that you should retire immediately?
So there's a lot. There's a lot of misstatements in what you said.
Okay.
There were no out-of-control race riots in the city of Chicago in 2020. And sir, let me just. You asked your question. If you want an answer, you make a speech, but you don't want me to respond. So now I'm going to respond. Your characterization of what happened in this city in the summer of 2020 is a gross characterization of what actually transpired. So I don't even know where to begin to start to deconstruct the myths and the facts and the outright mistruths in your statement. We had a challenging time in the summer of 2020, as did almost every city in the country. Our officers responded to a historic civic outcry. And as you remember, during that time, we had three things that were happening. Peaceful protests that got hijacked by vigilantes who tried to disrupt and came for a fight with the police, and we saw that play out, unfortunately, way too many times, as well as organized gangs and criminals that were engaged in retail thefts. I think the police department rose to the occasion and handled this unprecedented circumstance as best they could. And once again, sir, you're blocking camera, but I guess you don't care about that. So I think that's probably as much as your question warrants. Thank you all.
Wow.
Did he actually say race riots, or did he just say riots?
He said that people are walking around with their hand in the air. He didn't.
He said that Lori Lightfoot was part of it.
That she was walking around with her fist in the air, but he was talking about riots. I didn't hear the word race. Did he say race riots?
I don't think so.
Because she's changing it up.
She's characterizing
There were riots, but they weren't race riots.
Well, in her eyes, they were.
And as far as peaceful protests, we were the peaceful protesters.
Yeah.
The people doing the damage were
not. That according to how she wanted to answer it. She didn't actually answer his question directly. Obviously, there was violence on the streets. That's hard to ignore. That's just ridiculous.
Nuts. So, yeah, I'm glad we did that one. Obviously, not a lot's coming. Not a lot of changes happening downtown Chicago, as you can tell. Well, Ben, do you have anything else to add to that at all? Do you want to close that one out?
I just close it out with this statistic. We're pulling city employees, including teachers, out of their jobs when only 26% of 11th graders are proficient in reading and math. 26%. That means they're at their grade level.
What grade?
11th grade. That means all the others, what is that, 74% fall below the proficiency level, the minimum level that is required for them to be successful after graduation.
Another argument for homeschooling.
And to dovetail on that one, Ben, they're actually graduating the vast majority of those students that are failing. And then they are entering the workforce to work alongside all of us.
For $25.
And this is why a lot of people are having to do the work of 2 or 3 people, because there are a number of people that you can work beside that can't even do the basics of their job.
A lot of these
even
kids that cannot keep a job end up in the prison system. Why? Because we're graduating them and they're not ready to enter the workforce.
Right.
So, obviously they go for the easier option.
New. That's nothing new. But
no,
it's something
downstate.
That's downplayed quite a bit. I wish it was. I would wish this not on any city, but I mean, you throw this on Chicago. It's true of all of Illinois that we're having problems with reading and math proficiency rates and science proficiency. but especially in Chicago, where they tout their successful graduation rate, but they're hiding the truth of the fact of their own failure.
Can I add insult to injury? Let's close all entry level jobs by eliminating all of those restaurants and small shops and using COVID to basically eliminate any entry level positions for anyone trying to get into the workforce and build a resume. So yeah, I mean, they are the ones stacking the cards against people and then saying, well, we don't know what happened.
So. And let me say something about a correction on what Lori Lightfoot said. She said that the riots and stuff is what was happening in all major cities in 2020. It was Democrat cities. The Republican cities,
I didn't see that.
Didn't see any problems.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Were we talking about Florida back then? You know, the cities in Florida. Were we talking about the cities in Texas?
Yeah, someday we'll make a list. Let the history books speak. So, thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
I still want to see the picture.
Hold her light feet to the fire. Should have been. It'll come. It's coming at the end of the show, I promise. So I think we're ready to move on to like the real meat here. I want to let you know that we're 26 minutes in, and I figured like very easily Teresa would be carrying the lion's share of tonight's show because she just did a ton of research on the numbers that came in from all of our petitions. And so here's the results, guys. And we will, by the way, try and have as much of this on our website for you as we can. Links will happen after the show. And if you want to make sure to follow us, and if you're watching us on other platforms, check out the link over there, over Teresa's head, that this will actually get you to everything that we have, as well as other conservative Illinois sites that will help you rebuild Illinois. So, but without any further ado, I want to turn this over to Teresa because
I almost feel like we should have music for this.
I can do it, but there's just nothing.
It's okay.
I think the music that I would want to use would break copyright for sure, because it's got to be epic. Because
we need sound for some of it, though.
Your hair was dyed to match this. No, it wasn't.
No, I was born with this. I was born to be a Republican. See, natural red hair.
It's awesome. Well, take it away. Tell us all about what you got going on right now.
Well, you want to go ahead? Well, actually, I was looking into the numbers, and I want to make a correction and apologize to Christian because last week during the show, it was all very negative, that there weren't very many Republicans in these races. There were a lot of seats unfilled, and Christian was the optimist, thinking we still had one more day for them to file, and I thought, they're not going to do that. You know, most of them get them out on the first day, and it kind of peters out after that.
Hey, full disclosure, I actually thought when the final numbers came in, I was still disappointed. I'm like, we didn't do it. We didn't do enough. I expected to see like 400 or something. I wanted to see more than we saw on day one. Like that's what I was expecting. And when it kind of came in, I'm like, this is going to be rough.
To be fair, I filed on the last day.
Sure.
In 2020.
Actually, a lot of our friends did.
Yeah. A lot of people
like it.
So
go ahead.
And I say a lot of our friends because we made a lot of friends during our campaign in 2020, during Ben's campaign and mine. That's actually how Ben and I met. But so we got to know a lot of people, and I was looking at the last day filings, and I'm like, oh, I know that person and that person and that person and that person and that person. So it was very interesting when I was looking back at the 2020 data. So I did a lot of comparison. I'm sorry, let me finish with my apology. Christian was right. There was a massive amount of people that filed on the last day.
Enough.
And I was blown away. It was enough that I thought, oh, shoot, these numbers really throw everything off. Let me look at this deeper. And I was looking at it and I said, okay, I need to compare this to the previous cycle. Now, that would be different for each one, like Congress, you know, the U.S. House. All of our seats are up every 2 years. Okay, so I only had to compare with 2020. Whereas like for the governor, that's every 4 years. So I went back 4 years. Now, the reason why and I'll explain later why I compared the Illinois Senate to 10 years back, but that's because every 10 years,
right,
we do the whole Senate in one shot.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's staggered. So it's been a while, but I compared to the previous cycle that was just like this one is what I'm comparing to. So you're going to see different comparisons. Some will be 2020, some will be 2018, some will be 2012. So it'll be different, but I have a slideshow for you.
Awesome. Yes.
And I hope you'll see what I'm seeing because I'm excited.
It's cool.
And by the way, I put a little bit of this into maps after Teresa is done. So.
Yes. We got a lot of really good information to unpack for
Pay
you guys.
attention to her numbers. This is really important. This is really encouraging.
Okay. We might want to go. I don't know if we want to take the banner off though, but I
I made
think
one to
Illinois
match.
is in play. I really
Yes.
think it's in play, and I think we have a shot to really flip the state.
Yeah.
I really do. Now, I'm going to preface this a little disclaimer. These numbers look awesome, but it means nothing if we don't get these candidates across the finish line, especially after the primary. We need to push to get them to win in the general. If we get these candidates to win,
that's awesome. It's going to be awesome.
You're going to be crying for a week for joy.
And there are, by the way, there are some other things. This is for the primary.
Hey, Democrats will be crying as well.
I don't care about that. That's okay.
But this is for the primary, so there are slatings that still have to that can happen. There are seats that are vacant that can still be filled, but these are the initial figures. This is the first numbers on the book. So, Teresa.
Yeah, this is the initial, and remember, the primary is where we get to pick our horse for the general.
Right.
So you may have 5 candidates in running for one seat on the Republican ticket. We get to pick which one will be going into the final round.
Exactly.
It's
Do you want me to keep everyone up on the side, or you want to just be you in the slides?
It could be me in the slides, or it could just be the slides. It doesn't really matter.
Okay. Well, I'm going to remove myself and just start running the show. This is all you, girl. I'm so stoked. We'll talk to you guys in a second.
Okay. And by the way, make sure you share this with your friends because they need to know this. They need to know that there is hope still in Illinois. Okay, next one. Christian, there we go. Let's talk about the statewide candidates for governor and lieutenant governor. Let's put up the years. Okay, the last time was 2018. And in 2018, we had 2 Republican teams running. Now, let me explain the teams. That's because you run as a team, the governor and lieutenant governor. Just like president and vice president, you have a running mate. So I call those teams. We had 2 teams running in 2018. Next. The Democrats had 6 teams, plus they had a candidate who was running by himself or herself. I can't remember if it was male or female. So the Democrats were coming out in force. Here's 2020. We have 7 teams. Plus, we have a candidate who's running by himself, I think.
So that's
I think
8. We have 8 candidates
for governor and 7 candidates for lieutenant governor.
Right. It really needs sound effects.
That's 15 Republicans just for those 2 seats.
It's awesome. Democrats
but
are
the
running.
Democrats, but maybe the Democrats also put in a whole bunch of people. Let's see.
One of them is on. Actually, one of those 7 we'll give them. 2 teams. 2.
So there's a huge amount of energy on the Republican side this campaign season. So, but we still have a lot of other races to go through. So let's go on to the next race.
Moving on.
Now, Attorney General. We'll kind of go through these a little bit faster, I think.
Sure.
Again, because the executive offices, the last time they ran was 2018. I believe these are all 4 years ago. Put up the years. Republicans last cycle had 2 candidates running for Attorney General, and Democrats had 8 candidates running.
Not a pretty picture.
No, again, Democrats were out in force. We were very, as Christian had said on the phone earlier, anemic.
Right.
So in 2022, what's the results for the Republican? How many?
3 candidates.
3. Doesn't look like much of a gain, but it is a game.
We have 3 versus their 2. We actually have more choice than they have at the moment.
No, we have more choices than what they had, or than what we had 4 years ago.
Oh, that's right. And their current is what?
Their current is
one
one.
candidate.
So, okay, think about it. Last year, or last cycle,
Mm-hmm.
they had 4 times as many candidates running. This cycle, we have 3 times as many candidates running.
It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome.
And just think, we gained a candidate where they have 7 fewer candidates. That means that there's just no energy over there.
Right.
There's none.
There's a lot to be gleaned from this information. It's basically they're sitting on their laurels, and we are ponying up.
Oh yeah.
So,
okay, let's go on. I think is it Secretary of State? Yes. Secretary of State. So in 2018, we had one candidate, and they
were running 2 candidates.
And then so these were a little bit lower numbers than governor, obviously. But in 2022, this year, we have 3
candidates.
So we tripled our numbers. So did they triple? Let's see. Come on, Christian.
4?
They
Is
only
that right?
doubled. Yep.
They doubled.
They only doubled.
They
But
still only get
look-
to pick one.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we're seeing that we have
Energy.
energy
Yeah.
building up in there.
Now,
Okay.
the only reason they have an increase in candidates there is because Jesse White is retiring.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So,
So let's go on. I think the next one is it Comptroller?
Comptroller's coming up. Here we go.
Okay. Comptroller. In 2018, we were running one candidate.
One candidate.
And they were running, I think, 2? 1.
One candidate.
I did all this, but then Christian, redid my thing. So I'm actually reading off of what you're seeing.
That's
I'm seeing it when you do. I don't
So-
have a separate.
So
I don't
here
have
we
my
are.
slideshow.
This month, 2022, 2 candidates.
2.
We have 2 comptrollers to their
And
one
they have
candidate.
1. See, this year we have more energy. They have not very much.
For treasurer.
For treasurer. Okay, 2018, we had 1 candidate to their 1, I think.
I think it's 1. It's slowly coming up. There it is.
Yeah. Okay, and this year we have how many?
2 candidates.
2 to their what?
1 candidate.
1. So as you can see, it may not seem like a big jump, but
Love
it's
it.
still more energy on the Republican side. So let's move on to the next. And this is our federal candidates, Senate candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if you remember in 2020, but it was a little bit of a bloodbath on our side because we had 6 candidates running. And
What did we learn out of that, Teresa? I think we're going to cover that a little bit, right?
Yes. I'll get to that at the very end when it comes to my advice for candidates, because I saw a lot of people messing up there. But Democrats only ran 1 candidate. Now, this year, do we have 6 candidates?
8.
No, it's 8.
8 candidates.
8 candidates running for Senate.
It's a football
And by the way,
team.
last cycle, the candidates were running against Dick Durbin. Now they're running against Tammy Duckworth.
And
they only have the 1
Keep
candidate.
in mind, by the way, that these aren't 8 slouches.
No, they're all awesome candidates.
Yeah, a good number of them are really strong candidates for U.S. Senate.
And let me tell you, I'm having a tough time trying to figure out who I'm going to vote for in a lot of these primaries.
Yeah.
Because I've met many of these candidates in various seats, and I'm still sitting here going, I know these people, and I know
Right.
they're all awesome. How
Yeah.
do you choose between awesome and awesome?
It's going to be
It's really
fun.
hard.
We've got our work in front of us, but
Splitting hairs.
we will
Yeah,
vet
we are
the right
splitting
guy.
hairs. But at least we have a choice between many great candidates rather than a bunch of lousy candidates.
Instead of having one that we don't want,
Right.
which is why we've normally been stuck in the past.
Yes. Now let's move on to the U.S. House. Again, this is another federal seat. Now, in 2020, we had 18 seats available, but we
Lost
just
a
went
seat.
through a census, and because of that, we lost a seat because there's been so many.
Because we're bleeding
leaving.
people.
We're bleeding people bad. So just to give you an idea, that means we've lost a typical congressional district represents about 700,000 people.
Wow.
So that is
We
just
are
what we
one
lost.
of only 2 states that actually lost population between 2010 and 2020.
Yes. And so we lost enough to where, and so in 2020, we ran candidates in every seat except for one. So we were only running candidates in 17 of those 18 seats.
But
So
yet
about 94%
45
of this.
to pick from, yeah.
And we had 45 to pick from out of those 17 seats, which sounds like quite a bit. The Democrats made sure that they ran someone in every single seat. They had 100% coverage. But they had 47 people running.
The key number on this is to recognize. Oh, sorry, it didn't. It just went to
bye-bye.
crud on me. Yep, hold on. The key number to recognize on this chart is not to put your hand on the chart for one.
Might help.
Yeah, is that? Yeah, it's on the percentage. We have 18 seats, 18 out of 18 being run. Yeah. That's the key. Okay. Yeah. So when we're looking at 2022, we have 17 available seats.
Right.
What did the Republicans run?
We are running people in 16 of those seats, but we're running 53 candidates.
Jeez, look at that. Just monstrous.
So they are battling over these seats. Now the Democrats, usually they run in every single seat. Not this year. They're only running for 16 of those 17 seats. And they're running 56 candidates.
So this is neck and neck. We have 16 seats being spoken for.
And just to give you an idea for this, I ran for the 2nd congressional district, which would have been U.S. House. I ran unopposed in the primary. But there are 3 candidates running for that seat on the Republican side this cycle.
Okay.
So definitely more energy. There is more energy than we've had before. Now for the Illinois Senate. Now this comparison is with 2012 because that was the last time we had all Senate seats up for re-election. So there's 59 in 2012 and in 2022. Okay, that's how many seats we have in the U.S. or in the Illinois Senate. In 2012 we were running candidates in 39 out of those seats, so only about 66%, and we had 65 candidates. The Democrats were running in 45 seats with 70.
A lot of energy.
A lot of energy there. Yes, a lot of energy. Now this year, we have 47 candidates fighting over 37 seats, which is still only about 62%.
We lost a little.
We lost a little. Now let's look at the Democrats. They're only running in. They also lost, but if you look at the percentages, they lost. So we lost about 3.3%. They have a loss of 5.1%. So even though we lost, they lost bigger. But we have a lot of candidates, a lot more energy than what they do. The Illinois
I'll show you where those are, by the way.
What?
Later on in the episode.
Yes.
I'll show you where those empty seats are.
Cool.
And we will talk about the rearrangement of those. In the Illinois House, we have 118 seats, both in 2020 and in 2022. So in 2020, we had how many Republicans? 88 running for 67 of those seats. We were barely even getting half those seats with anyone running. That right there is anemic. That is abysmal. That's what we've been talking about.
Yeah, see, this is that energy you were talking about. They had a huge amount of swell going.
They did. And they were running in 102 of those 118 seats, which means that they were running candidates in 86% of those seats.
Well,
that was just, and by the way, 2 years ago.
That was yesterday. What about today?
Yesterday. Yeah. So let's take a look. We have 109 candidates going for 90 seats.
Wow.
We've made a jump from coverage of 56, almost 57% to 76. That's
a monster
huge.
Move. Yeah.
Now, did the Democrats have a monster move? They're running people in fewer seats. They're going after 26 less seats, or no, I'm sorry. They have 26 less candidates while we have 21 more candidates, and we're running in more seats. Look at that. We actually are running candidates in more seats than the Democrats have candidates running.
Absolutely
and last
awesome.
cycle, it was almost double. And that was only 2 years ago.
This is one of my favorite slides.
I know. I love this one. We went up by 21 candidates. They went down by 26.
This is just crazy.
I know.
Next. Do we do it again?
Now, see, this is where I want to start crying. I got my tissues here just in case. Okay. Okay, so let's go next. Oh, I forgot about this one. Oh, I love this one.
It's like Christmas every time she opens a slide.
I know. So the last time was 2018, and we have this.
Words of people.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, what is the regional superintendent of schools? We have our superintendent of every school district, but regional is where they take a couple of counties and they put them together, and that's a region. And so, pull the slide up full. So we have 24 of those regional districts, basically. And every 4 years, they're up for re-election. So
Same number as last time. 24 and 24. Okay.
Yeah. So this time, or in 2018, we were running candidates in 17 seats. We were covering about almost 71% of the seats available. We had candidates running in those. And they were running candidates on only 8. Apparently, the Democrats don't think much about education, by the way. So this cycle, we're running candidates in 21 of those seats. 21. We've got 87.5% coverage.
Yep.
And what's really
3.
great is that we are running 22 candidates in those. So there's only really a primary election in one of those. But we have 3 additional candidates compared to last cycle. The Democrats are only running candidates in 5 seats.
Down 2.
Down by 2 candidates. Look at that number. It was 70 and 33, and now it's 87 and 20. I mean, this is amazing. We're taking back our schools, you guys. Do you understand this? Who wants this? I want this.
I'm
Yay,
ready.
Let's go. Let's get this. Let's get our education back on track. We were just complaining about that a little bit ago. Okay. My kids are going to wonder what I'm yelling about, but I'm so excited. Okay. Can you tell? I should probably take another sip of wine just to calm down.
Getting into bounds.
Okay, Illinois.
If you haven't been able to tell so far, the news is much better than we anticipated, based on last week's number. So
yes,
we're doing good. We're not where we need to be, but we're doing a whole lot better than last time.
Oh
ahead,
yes,
Teresa.
definitely. Okay. So there is a bad spot coming up, but it's not yet. Now, Illinois Supreme Court candidates, and this is only based on whoever is retiring or whatever. There's vacancies. So last cycle was 2020, and I think we had 2. Yeah, and I think we have 2 this time too.
Yep.
Okay. So last cycle, we had 3 people running for those 2 seats. And they had 9 running for those 2 seats. They had 3 times as many people as we did. This year, we have 6, or is that 6 or 5? I can't even tell.
Is it supposed to? It's a 6. It's a 5.
It's a 5.
You have me worried. Was it supposed to be a 6?
No, I was looking. The number looked really funny. I'm like, is that a 6 or a 5? So it's 5 people running for those 2 seats. It's an increase of 2 candidates. And Democrats have 4 people running. Last cycle, they had 3 times as many people running as us. And this time, we have more running than they do.
This is one of those things you were talking about. It's more about momentum, right?
Yes,
we're seeing
it's showing
the momentum in the numbers. It's awesome.
And
totally
it also lets us know that we have choices. That's the big thing. When you go to vote in the primary, you have choices this cycle.
Yeah.
That's important. Okay, now for the
not so fun one. Yeah.
Now,
I know.
oh wait, no, that's after the appellate. The appellate court. In 2020, we had 3 seats available, and
Gained
this year
a seat.
we have 4.
Yep.
So
I
last
guess
cycle-
someone wasn't retiring, or someone was retiring, or someone else was running. I don't know how that all works.
Well, appellate court is the same thing. Whoever's retiring or not,
Sure.
whatever.
Well, they're
Okay.
based actually on a term of a given number of years. Usually, I believe it's 6 for the courts.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, so last cycle in 2020, we had 3 running for only 2 of those seats. So we were running for 2/3 of them. And the Democrats made sure they had someone in every seat, but they were running 7 candidates.
Yeah.
This time, we're still leaving one more seat on the table, but we're running 4 candidates for 3 of those seats. So it's an increase in percentage.
Right.
And the Democrats are also running
still
for
100%.
all 4.
Yep.
And so they did go up a little bit. We went up by 1 candidate, they went up by 2. Not a big deal. Okay?
Yep.
But we are chasing after the appellate court, just like we're chasing after the Supreme Court. Now, here's the ugly part. But remember what it says up at the top. Cook County. Now, these are the circuit court judges. So when you go into court and there's a trial, or you have a family court issue or a lawsuit or a criminal case or whatever, the judges that you're in front of, those are your circuit court judges. Yeah. And these are the ones in Cook County and only Cook County.
Crook County. I fixed it.
Crook
There's an
County.
R there
Thank
now.
you. Okay. I see the little red R you put in. So in 2020, there were 34 seats available. This time there's 25. So there's not as many available. Last cycle, we were only running 4 candidates in 2 of those seats. They ran a candidate in every single one.
Wow.
We didn't stand a chance.
Right. So this year,
lost
a few. Like all.
We're not running anyone in anywhere in Cook County courts.
It's nuts.
But of course, they are running candidates.
Takeaway for people listening to this: don't get tried in Cook County.
No. Unfortunately, that's where I live.
Sadly, I used to live in Cook County, so I had to deal with them. So now we're looking at all the other circuit court judges for all the other counties throughout the state that's not Cook County.
Sure.
In 2020, there were 42 seats available, and in 2022, there's 35.
We're down a few, yeah.
So last cycle, we were running candidates in about 90% of the seats with 38 seats, and they were only running candidates in about 54. So 23 seats. This cycle, we are running candidates in 30 seats out of the 35. And
which is actually, when you compare these two numbers, that's better than this. As far as better. Like percentage-wise of what we're running in those seats.
No, percentage is right underneath. We lost a little bit of percentage.
Did we lose some?
Yeah, we were running candidates in 90%.
Never have me. Never have me do.
We left 6 seats. 4 seats, wasn't it, last time? And this time we're leaving 5 seats.
Yeah, you don't want me to tally your tip.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let Teresa do it, because Teresa's really good with math. And the Democrats are only running candidates in 16 seats.
That's actually good news.
Yeah. But look at their percentage. They went down. They're not even trying for even half of them now. They went from 54%, 54.7 to 45.7. That's a 9 percentage point drop.
That's a big drop. Yeah.
Whereas ours was like, just real quickly, that would be a 4.8.
Yeah.
Roughly, yeah.
I'm just going to say, don't make me do math. Here's our fun
math.
number.
Math is your friend. But of course, one of my children actually say math stands for mental abuse to humans.
Oh, okay. That's good. I'm going to take that one.
So, yeah. Now, the last day of filing, like I said, that's what got me really excited. Mm-hmm. And Christian called this one last week. He said there were going to be a lot. In 2020, the last date of filing, there were 137 petitions that were filed. Out of those, 52 were Republicans, so only about 38%, and the other 85 were Democrats. So we only put in a third of those. 2/3 of them, almost 2/3 of them were Democrats.
Boom! I need to back it up.
182. So that's how many were filed on the last day this cycle. How many of those were Republican, though? 92! And only 90 were Democrats. Last time they had twice as many as us. This time we have more than them.
It's awesome.
Where's the energy, you guys? Where is it? Is it with the Democrats?
It's called a pendulum swing.
The pendulum is swinging. And actually, I've noticed this quite a bit. I actually did, in my book that I wrote, Democrats versus Republicans, the Historical Evidence. It's on Amazon. Sorry
I don't
for
have
the
the
plug.
QR code for that one. You know what? You send that to me. I'll throw that into the QR link. Go to the QR just above my head, in my head, over like I'm wearing it like a hat. Go to this QR code, and I'll make sure that Teresa's Amazon link is on there.
Yes,
So.
and in that book, I actually go into the pendulum swing for each state. Every state is a little bit different as far as how many cycles they go one way, and then they tend to go back the other way. So a state may go Democrat for maybe 5 cycles and presidential cycles, and then they'll swing back and start going to Republican for 5 cycles, and then they go back. And so it's kind of this pendulum
is the
going
beginning
back
of a swing,
and forth.
hopefully. A lot of
Illinois is way, way, way overdue for a pendulum swing. And I think we have enough energy to get that pendulum to swing back. Because Illinois did used to be a Republican state.
Yep.
I don't know if people realize that.
Yep. That's
We haven't
what the
always been
logo-
a Democrat state.
That's what the logo implies.
Yes. And remember, land of
There it
Lincoln,
is.
baby.
There it is, baby.
And what was Lincoln? Was he a Democrat? Not only was he a Republican, he was the first.
Wasn't he? Yeah, I thought so.
As a matter of fact, he
Well,
won.
he was the first elected president, but he was not the first candidate.
Right. He was
the first
elected in
elected
1880,
president.
right?
What?
1880?
Oh, don't ask me. You have to ask my wife. She does the homeschooling.
Or 1860. No, that's what I was thinking. I'm sorry. 1860, and it was 1856 is when the Republican Party was formed. So,
Our first win.
or 54. It was 1854. And then in 1856, we ran our first Republican candidate.
You're saying bring it back home.
Bring it back home to Illinois. Now, yes, so we have 40 more candidates that filed on the last day than last cycle. They only have 5 more candidates than what filed on the last day last cycle.
It's just monstrous.
Yes. Now, all of this is really great, but it can all go poof if the candidates don't play it right.
Agreed.
Oh, wait, I think there's one more slide.
There is one more. There's 2 more. You added
2
one. You added one on a phone call.
Seats. Empty seats, yes. So empty seats, what that is if you have, for the congressional districts, we have 17 congressional districts. Republicans aren't even trying for
With
one
the
of those.
Senate,
Democrats
we have one
aren't
empty,
trying.
right?
Yeah.
You said the 7th?
Yeah. The 7th is the one we're not running a candidate in, and then there's one that the Democrats are not running one in.
Right.
So how many seats are we leaving on the table that the Democrats are not even trying for?
Well,
87.
first of all, 87, 85.
85.
Yep.
We're going after more seats. We're leaving fewer seats on the table than the Democrats are. Woo!
That's good.
We're
It's a good
going
move.
after them. It may not be a big change in the 2 numbers,
It's a change in the right direction.
but it's a change in the mentality of the people of Illinois.
Well, and
That's
really,
what it shows.
really, the point is not a lot of people are where we're at. This is way early in the game for most people to be thinking about these politics. The point is that the numbers show that the momentum is already there.
Right.
This is before they start recognizing when they have you seen a lot of yard signs? No, this is not that period yet. We're not even
I
to
don't
the
think
primary
any candidate would put out yard signs this
Not until
early.
after the primary.
No. You don't. Yeah, you don't really do
You'll
it.
see them. You will see candidates that are dealing with primaries. They will put them up during the before the primary.
Right.
You got to think of
And I'll
that. So I know Teresa didn't go through that. I didn't go through that necessarily, but still, you want your name to start to get out there, especially if you have a primary opponent.
Right.
Well,
right.
and like my situation, I was running in Cook County, and I wasn't going to put any signs out. I put my signs out like 48 hours before the election, And can you believe within 12 hours, half of them were already gone?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, stealing yard signs is a huge issue in Illinois. Huge. So
One
let's
more
go on
here.
to the next one. One last one here. The Republican candidates. How many Republican candidates did we have over all these seats in
Just
2020?
2 years ago.
208.
Mm-hmm.
This year, 314.
Nice.
A 51% increase. I'm telling you, there is energy, and I cannot wait to see how this all rolls out. As a matter of fact, I don't know what I'm going to do on election night when it comes to the
Well, it's going to be a fun night, especially if we're broadcasting.
I'm telling you, you're going to have to give me something to calm me down because I'm going to be, woo! I'm just.
Keep in mind, folks, the reason why we are seeing this is because the Republican Party is smelling blood in the water. And, that is obviously a shark analogy, but anytime that you smell blood in the water, you can expect the sharks to come out. And, the sharks this time being politicians. And the Democrats have put themselves in a position by governing poorly to create this momentum in the Republican direction. It doesn't mean that we're going to gain a lot of lifelong Republicans out of it, but enough of them have put themselves in a position that they are vulnerable in this election, and people know it. And so people are thinking, yeah, this is my time. I'm coming out. I'm gonna throw my name in the ring and go after this hard.
Well,
Can I just commend? But by the way, Teresa, I just want to take the moment and say thank you for all the labor you put in all this data. I want everyone to appreciate right now, just looking at our Miro board. This is the kind of sheets and the kind of numbers that she ran and calculated. It's just a massive amount of work.
For a reason.
What's that?
I've been called, every place I've ever worked for the last 15 years, I've been referred to as the spreadsheet queen. So there's a reason for it. I love my spreadsheets.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible amount of work. Thank you so much for compiling that, because the website at the Illinois State Board of Elections sucks to get any real information.
Well, and I do want to also point out, like Ben was saying, they're smelling blood in the water. I think another big reason is that we have seen so much tyranny that it's caused a lot of people who never considered getting into politics jump up. I mean, look at what's going on at school board meetings. Parents are coming out in droves to fight for their children. We're just seeing this energy. I think we've hit that breaking point where people, not even just parents, but any people all across Illinois are saying, enough.
Right.
We're done. And if you're not going to do what we want, then I'm going to get in and I'm
then we're going to step up and do it. If you don't like what's being done.
That's a very good point. Why don't we cover my maps before we cover Teresa?
Yeah, go to the final section.
Okay.
Yep,
That
I
way
agree.
we keep it all together here.
Yeah, no, that was my next move for you, buddy.
Upper left.
Upper left. We're going to cover this one here. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, is there a way you can...
Yep.
Now, okay, so what we have here, we have 3 maps to show you that show the seats that have no Republican running in them. And this first one, the map of all of Illinois, is essentially everything except the northeast portion because of how densely populated that is. And what you see there are 2 different colors of red. And if you come into it now, that's the Champaign area. I think of the University of Illinois. Yeah. Okay. And so that is one House district and the Senate district that it sits in. Both of those districts do not have a Republican candidate running in those. Outside of there, every place else that you see on the map, every single county, all the other positions have Republicans running for those seats. So outside of the Northeast, we're doing a phenomenal job of getting people out and, to actually put their name out there and fight the good fight. Okay, go to the map on the right. Now, this one is Northeast Illinois, and it includes Will County, obviously Cook County, and I should have pulled up what districts those are, but
I can pull them up elsewhere if you want me to try and grab them for you.
no, I'll get them here in 1 second. Yeah, I apologize, folks. I didn't think that through.
It's all right.
But
There's a ton of information to
But
disseminate here.
if you notice, though, this is where the lion's share of those empty seats are for Illinois. All right. So running in the Illinois Senate first, which is what you see here, they're districts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We skip 6. We have a candidate running there. Then we go to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm just going to say through 17. We have candidates running in 18 and 19. Then we go 20. No candidate running there. We have a candidate running in 21. Then we failed to have any candidates run in 22, 29, 30, and 39. So if you live in any of those red areas marked in the Northeast on this map here, and ultimately, obviously, this doesn't have streets or anything, you're going to have to go to the Illinois State Board of Elections, pull that up, and we'll pull that up for you at the end of the show. But if you live in any of these areas, you missed an opportunity that you could have run unopposed for the primary.
Wow.
Okay. And so that is a total of, what is that?
Did you have it written down over here?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 22 seats.
Awesome.
22 seats total. 21 are in that Northeast section. So go ahead and pull up the next map.
Okay. It's up.
Okay, in this one, there are 28 seats total, and 27 of them are in that area. Okay, so those districts are 1, 2, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 19, 22 through 29, then 33, 39, 40, House District 50, 58, 59, 60, 78, 80, 85, and 98. All of those are in those red areas that you see there on the map, including, unfortunately, one here in Will County. We'll see if we can try to find a candidate to run after the primaries for that one.
Which district is that?
85.
85.
85. Oh, also 90. Well, 98, I think, is King County.
Interesting.
I may be wrong. I may be wrong in that one. But you see where our problem lies.
Right.
It's in the Northeast section. And so if we can fight back in here and really get people energized, we have a legitimate chance then of finally flipping the state.
So really what we should have done is colored everything else red to, to properly push the red wave that it was, because what those are the vacancies.
I thought red danger zones, you know.
Yeah.
But you see where we're lacking candidates now, and where we need to concentrate efforts for 2024 and 26. Those upcoming years, so we can try to get these filled in and have people actually then um, running in every district in the House and the Senate, so we can flip the General Assembly red like we need it. That is, we the people need it to be. And
Absolutely.
I know people say Chicago's impossible, but I heard the same thing about Elwood, where I live, Jackson Township, and it only took me 4 years to change it from blue to red.
Wow.
So, can it be done? It can,
Absolutely.
but what it requires is that we get people on the ground who are willing to make the effort to make that happen. Okay, so that's my speech. People, you see where we need to work. Turn it back over to Teresa.
Teresa.
Okay. Now, we do have multiple candidates running in a lot of different races. And so, like we said, there's 85 seats that do not have a Republican. However, we will have 108 people who will not make it through the primary. I wish they all could, but let's be honest. We have 7 teams running for governor. I
Right.
mean, 6 of those teams, at least, well, 6 of those teams won't be able to make it. Because we have to pick in the primary which one is going to represent us in the general. So all of those people will no longer move on for the general once we get past the primary. So we have 108 people that will not make it past the primary. That gives us a lot of people to then slate.
Yep.
But
We know a few of them.
However, we cannot just move those 108 over to those 85 districts, because a lot of these, like for instance, the Illinois Senate and the Illinois House, you have to live within that district. Not all these candidates that end up losing in the primary are going to live in those districts. So there's residency issues and stuff too that we will have to contend with. But we know that there's a lot of candidates that are probably going to be slated. So hopefully that will fill in the gaps. But if we want to go back to our slideshow, I do have some advice to the candidates, and I'm not going to give advice that I myself would not take. So this is coming from someone who's run for office, okay? The first rule of advice that I would say is keep your eyes on the general, not the primary. I know those of you who are fighting with someone over a primary, I get it. But remember, it's not about you winning the primary. It's about making sure that we win against the Democrat in the general. That's the point. That's the point. We want to turn that seat red. Or if it is already red, keep it red. Know your enemy. Know who your enemy is. It's not your Republican primary challenger. It's the Democrat. So I want everyone to be very mindful of that. Be very mindful, because if you damage your primary opponent so bad that it causes them to lose in the general, then you just lost it. You lost the main prize. You have to go into this with the mentality, if you have a primary challenger, that I'm the best person for the job. But if I don't make it through, I want I want one of the other Republicans to win in the general. You have to have that mentality. If I don't win, it still has to be a Republican in the general. So you don't want to damage them too much. So know your enemy. It's the Democrat, not your primary opponent. Spend about 90% of your time, attention, and effort on self-promotion. Talk about yourself. Why you're the best. Let's go through that little list on the slideshow. I have some tips there. Talk about your policies. What are you going to do for the people? Talk about that. Talk about why you are running. Let the people know what you're doing. And talk about what makes you the best person for the job. Okay? And what makes you the strongest Republican for this seat. Talk about how you can make Illinois better or your district better. Only spend about 10% or even less than that of your time on your concerns about your opponents. Now, let me explain that one. Concerns. Don't attack. You want to talk about your concerns about them. For example, you can bring up policy concerns. Like, I saw my opponent's policy on this, but I have concerns that may cost a lot of money and Illinois doesn't have so much money. I would like my opponent to explain that a little bit better. Don't attack them as they just want to spend all kinds of money. Do it in a nice, civil way, please. You can question whether your primary opponent can effectively defeat the Democrat in the general. For instance, if you've raised $100,000 and they've only raised $2,000, that's a legitimate concern that you can bring up to the voters. Hey, I brought in more money. I have more that I can spend in the general to take on that Democrat, whereas my opponent just doesn't have the ability. That's a real concern. You're not attacking. You can bring up concerns about how strong of a Republican your opponent is, but don't attack him or her as a closet Democrat. Because if you do that and you don't make it through the primary and your opponent does, the Republicans will sit that seat out. They will not vote for that seat. They won't show up. And you want them to still show up. Because here's the thing, and I've been thinking really long and hard about this, and I don't like it when we have liberals running as Republicans. I don't. But here's the truth. If someone is running as a Democrat, they're going to push for extreme policies, like partial birth abortions, using abortion as an example. But if we have a Republican, someone running as a Republican, but they may secretly be a Democrat, that person will have to come up for re-election at some point. And they will not they know they will not get reelected if they go to extremes. So they may say, well, okay, I support abortion, but not the third term. So I don't like either of those positions. Okay. But I would rather have a moderate Democrat rather than an extreme Democrat. Do you understand? Ben and Christian, do you guys agree with me on that one?
I totally understand. I get where you're coming from on that one. Let me. I'm sure Ben has thoughts on that as well, but it is definitely you don't build your castle by knocking everyone else's down.
Right. And if you are going out and attacking your opponent, then you just handed the seat over to that Democrat, that extreme Democrat.
Now, realistically speaking, you have to separate yourself from any other candidate. But Teresa is right. The way to do that is to point out the differences in your policy proposals, and not to attack them, as a person or, in any way normally. So
strategically speaking,
very careful about that, because we said before, negative ads and negative campaign, speeches directed at your opponents doesn't win you votes. It only takes votes away from your opponent. So it's not an effective strategy for winning the seat long term. And as Teresa pointed out, if your opponent wins the primary, you just got a whole bunch of people, including your supporters, who are going to stay home rather than go to the election.
Yes, and we definitely want to bring that back up. Sorry.
By the way, that's how Clinton lost in 2016. Is all the Bernie Sanders candidates supporters did not vote for her, and it was a significant number. Right,
and again, it comes down to to be perfectly honest, if you're a candidate running and you're fighting against someone in a primary, please do not forget, you're on the same team. Bottom line.
Yeah.
If you get benched, don't you still want your team to win?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Or are you going to throw a tantrum and go home? No, You still want your team to win. This is a team effort, and we need to stay focused on that. Now go on to the next piece of advice.
Got it.
stay away from the personal attacks. And like Ben was saying, it doesn't help you. Actually, if you are doing personal attacks on your opponents, it's not going to affect them as much as it's going to make you look horrible. It will. It's going to make you look really bad. It's going to reflect more on you than on your opponent. Stay focused. Remember, the campaign is about the people that you are running to represent. It's not about your opponent. And it's not even about you. It's more so about the people. Stay focused on that. And finally, if you have any mud to sling, make sure you're aiming it only at the Democrats, not at your. You don't want to do friendly fire. Come on, people. We need to stay focused and remember, we're not trying to knock out our teammates. We're trying to knock out our opponents. And again, that comes back to the second one: know your enemy or know your opponent. It's the Democrats, not the your Republican or competitors. So that's my primary advice. There's a lot of advice I could give. There's a lot of advice I wish people would have given me in the very beginning of my campaign. Right. But the biggest thing is stay focused. Remember, you're part of a team. Don't damage your teammates.
So what's our homework, I guess, for the week? I have no idea what to put on this. We didn't have like a tale, but what is it that everyone else can do?
Are we going to be putting something on the website with the link for everyone's websites?
We are actually, a lot of that's going to be based off of the amazing spreadsheet work that you did. Again, that link is in my box at the moment. This URL right here, which I can never aim to correctly the first time, you can actually just take the camera off of your phone and scan that. The link will also be in the chat as well, or you can go to rebuildillinois.org. I'm pretty sure we have a beautiful banner for that. You can go to that link. We will have all of our town halls. I'm in the process of putting a page for each episode that we've put together with all the pertinent information related to that episode. That is coming, and actually it exists on many of the town halls. But yes, go there. There's plenty of information that you can get to. We also do have that actually goes to this link tree. But more than anything, if you want to talk to someone immediately, you can either send us an email at rebuildillinois.org at gmail, or you can get a hold of us on Telegram at t.me/rebuildillinois chat. If you don't have Telegram, there will be a link there for the application as well. So we do have a few comments in here. Oh, those are someone posting things. I think you posted them.
What?
Wasn't even me.
I'm trying to post a link to, I think it may have gone up there this time.
Yeah, it did. It went.
Oh,
okay, folks.
Yeah, it went all over.
That link there is for the Illinois State Board of Elections voter lookup. Is essentially to find what districts you're in, so you can find out if you're in one of those districts that doesn't have a candidate running, and you can plan for next time for it to be you.
Right.
And remember, if you are an attorney and would like to become a judge, and you live in Cook County, now's the time. Get in
Run,
there.
Forrest. I don't have that clip for you. But we could play.
If you are a conservative attorney and you want to be a judge, now's your chance. And you happen to live in Cook County. So we need you. We need you so bad.
Well,
But the numbers in every other category, I think, look excellent. I am excited. People need to check out these candidates' websites. And you need to, again, sign up to be an election judge, poll watcher, because we're going to need that. It's all about the eyes on the polling places on election day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well,
Let's keep them fair and honest.
I appreciate everyone spending an hour and 20 minutes with it. I think it's an hour 15. I think we had a 5-minute leader, but it's been a long show. But it's honestly, I would do that kind of information every day if we could. That's fantastic. Thank you again, Teresa. Ben, thanks for covering.
Did you find the
crazy
picture you
downtown?
wanted to put up?
Oh, the
Oh
blue light
shoot!
foot picture.
Yeah, let me find. I promised. And I was so sucked into Teresa's presentation, I forgot to look at it while it was rolling.
Wait, here, I got one.
Do you have it?
You got one?
If I can pull it up here, hold on
Let me
a
see if I
second.
can pull mine.
I don't know if this is the one you're talking about, but let's see. Share screen.
This is this year's, right?
Yeah.
Looking for
Okay,
it.
I see it coming.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh,
It's
that's
coming
not the one.
Oh.
That's not the one? Okay.
No, I got a better one for you.
You do.
It's fantastic.
So there's this one, but there's a better one. Okay.
Oh
We'll have
my
to-
gosh.
we'll have to find
Hold
it.
on. It won't take me too long. Can't believe I didn't do this while we were rolling. This is just this
Shame
amount of
on
dead
you.
air here. Ah, there it is. This is the one. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
That was our mayor.
Can I please make a comment on this?
I don't know if it's safe.
That's a kilt, right?
It is.
Yeah, it looks like
Which
a
is
kilt.
Scottish.
It is.
No, Irish,
I am
Irish wear
actually-
kilts as well.
I am of Scottish descent.
You do not approve?
I do not approve, and I consider that cultural appropriation.
It is cultural appropriation. But when they do it, it's perfectly fine. Oh, there's another. Here's just to prove that that's not some Photoshop job
By the
here.
way, Teresa, I found out I am actually 1/3 Scottish.
Ooh.
It's a pretty fancy outfit. So, again, guys, thank you so much for joining
She
our
doesn't
crazy.
pull it off very well.
No, I hope nobody pulls it off in public. So, guys, thank you for joining us for another
Now
election.
we're leaving them
update.
with a nightmare.
No, I know. I didn't mean to I didn't want to leave it on a sour note.
But remember, we have a lot of momentum. We're going to get this. We're going
Illinois
to
is in play.
Illinois is in play. Yay, let's go. Let's make sure that we have people at the polls watching this. So sign up and make sure you're getting out there and voting and watching those polls.
Appreciate you
and learn
guys.
as much as you can.
We really, really appreciate you being with us. Take care.
Alive and well, I'm wide awake.